Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode number 249 of the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media. And I've wanted to chase this guy down for years because he does give the best post-game interviews in the entire business. Pete Fairbanks of the Tampa Bay Rays. I think you literally just rolled out of bed with that hair. Is that accurate?
I was up enough to get a coffee, but other than that, I haven't moved much.
How is it? You're joining us from Toronto. How is the Toronto coffee?
It was not my favorite cold brew. This is the first time, in fairness, I normally get more of an espresso beverage from the place that's right by our hotel, and the cold brew has let me down. I'm going to have to go back to the espresso that they have.
So do you go down and are you the coffee snob? Will you complain about it?
I'm not going to go back and complain. No, I'll just complain about it probably to JA and Poe, and just let them hear my frustrations as opposed to, voicing it to the people that actually might be able to rectify the situation.
Okay, fair enough. Boy, we've got a lot to get to, and we appreciate your time today. Let's start with the T-shirt selection. Please hold that up so that everybody...
Sorry, let me get a little closer.
All right. Seatbelts, everyone. Is that the Magic School Bus?
That is the Magic School Bus. My mother was a fourth grade teacher and then a librarian. So I'd like to attribute that to her and the fact that that was one of the shows that she approved of with her distaste for television. It was basically educational shows and sports were the only things that we had on when I was growing up.
So what other educational shows would you have to sit in front of?
I wouldn't say that I disliked the education. So it wasn't necessarily a punishment. Obviously, I'm still wearing the t-shirt. But between this and Schoolhouse Rock, which I'm trying to get my own kids on, my son, Isaac, loves as much as he loves science, doesn't like the science Schoolhouse Rocks, but he does love the America Rocks, like the Shot Heard Around the World. What are some of the other ones? The No More Kings, the We the People. For those of us that had to memorize the preamble back in school, which I don't know if they still do that, but I might still have it. Not that I want to dive down that rabbit hole, but
now I have much older kids. I have boys that are 23 and 18, so we've blown past that. Do we still have I'm Just a Bill? I'm sitting there on Capitol Hill.
I would say that's of the more political ones. I'd say that's probably the most well-known Schoolhouse Rock, I think.
Yeah.
If I had to offer my uninformed opinion, I would say that I'm Just a Bill is probably the most recognizable of the Schoolhouse Rock songs.
Yeah, this is not the perfect climate right now to start creating political cartoons for kids to watch, unless you just totally want to fuck up an entire generation. Then we could be there.
Man. Well, it makes me think of I don't remember what website it was, but it was like Jib Jab or something like that back when this would have been 2004 maybe, when they were coming up with spoof songs and cartoons for the Kerry and Bush election. I distinctly remember that, but yeah, I mean, you got as soon as you get 3 hits on the wrong algorithm, you're suckered into partisan political memes with no regard for it. It's just you're just suckered down the rabbit hole on that. And I mean it's by design of set algorithms to draw you to that. I read a great book called The Chaos Machine this is off topic story, but kind of on. I do a 30 minutes. I'm just sitting down, microcurrenting my right arm to try and get my nerves to, function like a normal person's nerves. And I read for those 30 minutes is just kind of a pregame, head clear. So I went through and I read this book called The Chaos Machine, and it basically, was a scathing review that social media knows exactly what it's doing and just doesn't care because it drives engagement. So.
It's the new version of snacks and soda. Like when we were kids, they were putting shit in that stuff where it would make it so that you would crave it more and more and more.
Right.
So social media is doing it. It's just doing it to your brain and what you follow. That's all.
Yep, it's suckering you into the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to some of your post-game interviews. Physically, the one that is most memorable is the one where you showed up with a black eye and you said that you got it while dunking in the pool against your son and the hoop came down. I'm curious if that happened over the All-Star break as well.
No, I did end up with numerous uh, scrapes and cuts from the jet ski that I was on
Mm.
over the All-Star break. So, Eric, I don't know if that breaches my contract, but as you've noticed, post All-Star break, I'm still capable of pitching. So we can just let that one slide. I did bust open the scab on my thumb last night, the ninth, so I was dotting it on my pant leg while I was warming up in the bullpen, but it was not a Trevor Bauer situation where I had to come out, so life was good.
You didn't have any drone action during the
No,
break?
no, no drones. Actually, well, I take that back. I did fly one, but it was within a net at the Museum of Science and Industry in um, St. Pete or Tampa. Shout out to USF and that great museum for having us out. They have a Lego dinosaur exhibit, which was my son and daughter are now, well, mainly my daughter is obsessed with dinosaurs after her life-size Lego encounter with them.
I love Legos. I know that you talked to my buddies over on Foul Territory about that.
Hmm.
But I do want to know how big your Lego binge is. Like, is that a huge craving for
Um,
you?
so yes and no. No, because I don't have space in my house for them. Right. When we
Mm.
moved St. Louis to St. Pete, real estate just a smidge more expensive in Florida than it is in Missouri, especially with where we wanted to be. So I have two Star Destroyers that are unbuilt because unless Lid is going to give me like full reign of using the coffee tables,
Hmm.
no place to put them. But I am working
Mm.
on. There's a pretty cool. It's like a 3D diorama or like a 3D painting of the Batman animated series.
Ooh.
So I'm working on that. That's pretty good. Yeah, there's a lot of Minecraft and Jurassic Park sets littering my house right now.
Okay.
Because that is what my kids are into.
Okay, so you do this with your kids because I do this with my youngest son, who, as
Hmm.
I mentioned, is 18, and I'm weeks away from kissing him goodbye and sending him to college. So we do this at least once or twice a year. We get a big project, and
Hmm.
I mean, it is the best way to bond. I can tell you
Yeah,
that.
Isaac, my 4-year-old, he loves Minecraft and Minecraft
Mm.
Legos. His one of his favorite days of whatever season it is when the new Lego magazine shows up at our house.
Mm.
To which he then flips it to the page of the set he likes the most, and then we'll carry that around every now and then. Speaking of Legos, we have an auction running right now to benefit our charity and the Turner Syndrome Foundation, and there's an offer. It's up there. I have one of Wolverine's 3 adamantium claws, a Lego build. So bid on it. Come build a Lego set with me. Um, I promise to let you put at least a few pieces in. I'll let whoever wins this, I will let them build more than I did Trisha, who was only allowed to put the stickers on and somehow managed to put the stickers on backwards.
Come on. What, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a problem because once you put the stick, like everything else in Lego is, even though some of the pieces are
Hmm.
so small, and with our big fingers, I have fat thumbs. I mean, you have to use tools now to get them off if you screw it up. But if once you put stickers on Legos,
Hmm.
you
It's
might
hard.
as well, yeah, you might as well just hot glued that
You're
thing.
either crinkling it or something. I actually found if you take the brick separator, throw the
Hmm.
sticker on like the tip, leads to much better application than trying to use my shaky fingers.
Wow. I love that being a charitable donation. We'll throw that link in the description here. So please, if you're interested, go do it for good cause, and it's wonderful, is what I would say. Hey, today's episode of the Rose Rotation brought to you by Fanatics Fest. That's right, Fanatics Fest is going to be the largest collection of athletes and leagues and teams and collectibles and memorabilia that the world has ever seen. Kind of think of this as Comic-Con, but for sports. And over the 3-day event, there's going to be Hall of Fame likes of Derek Jeter, Tom Brady, the Manning brothers will be there. There's going to be panels. There's going to be live show recordings, including us as well. We're going to be doing a special edition of JM Baseball Show live from the center stage. That's going to be coming your way on Friday, August 16th. We're also going to have our very own booth set up all weekend long with warehouse game stations, trivia, and more. You know, you can see Zoe and Jack and Jolly and the entire crew out there. It's going to be the ultimate destination for collectors and sports fans and everybody plugged into pop culture as well. So go on over to fanaticsfest.com, grab your tickets. We will see you there. We cannot wait. Were you voted funniest in high school?
No, I don't know. I don't think I got any senior superlatives. But I mean, I'll touch my mother after this and check and see if there was anything in the in the yearbook for me. But no, I would say that I would say I attempt to be more vocally clever now than I was in high school. High school, I was just more of a smartass. Now
Got it.
I try and temper it to, more towards what's going on than just being, except obviously in the bullpen, we have a full group of smartasses. So that, that's its own thing.
Before we get to some of your great sound bites from this year, what is it like on a daily basis in the bullpen? I imagine if you are leading the group out there, is it games? Which way do the discussions go? Give us a little taste of what the Rays pen is like.
Um, yeah, there was a great shot actually this was probably a week before the All-Star break, and I think Bally caught it on the broadcast, and it was just Jason, Poche, and myself. We're looking nowhere near the field, just cackling. And that's pretty much a good description of when we're not, like when we're getting ready, right? Obviously, we're a little more locked in, but obviously depending on, game situation, there's numerous times where we have absolutely no idea what's happening besides our conversation and hijinks that we have going on down there. Yeah, look, the main, I would say most of us want to wring Jason's neck at some point, strictly because everything is a pun. And it's not like a once every now and then like situational funny one. It is all encompassing dad joke puns 24/7 with that guy. And we love him, but there's times where he's stretching it. There's some times where he's got some really funny ones, and there's some times where you're just like, I want to throttle you.
That sounds like good kangaroo court sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody attempted to bring a kangaroo court back. I don't know if it has any traction, mainly because, I mean, at least among like the 8 of us, we just immediately just go after each other, right? So it's not necessarily, we're not stocking it up for later. It's more of we'll address it right then and there and get a good chuckle out of it.
All right. So let's get to one of your post-game interviews. And this one happened early in the season. I forget if it was in Denver or somewhere else, and your outing did not go great. Your post-game interview, however, was A-plus material. Here we go.
I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck. So, we're going to try and rectify that. But for right now, I'm going to be pretty pissed about it. I'll maybe give it till 10. It's 9:44 right now. We'll give it 16 minutes of sulk, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
When we got to 10 o'clock, had you washed it away?
Yeah, I think I was still lying in the float tank, probably scrolling TikTok or something at that point. So yeah, you gotta try to not take it home too much. I think I was at that point probably taking it home a little too much, but we try and do our best to compartmentalize it at least a little bit. Yeah, that was a rough one. Let me tell you, I was pretty mad about that one.
Oh, I get it. But you nailed the post game. I probably watched it 50 times. It was so funny. Had you seen it again until now?
Yeah, I was, Rich Eisen was a big fan. I went on his, YouTube, or I don't know what it's on, but I was on his thing a couple weeks ago. We went over that one. Yeah. So I've seen it every now and then. It is what it is. I'm glad. I'm glad people found some humor in it and brightened somebody's day because mine was not very bright at the time.
So I am always curious. One thing we talk about on this show is how you deal with failure because baseball is such a failure-laden game, right? And particularly at the back end of a bullpen, I equate you guys to like cornerbacks in the NFL. Like you have got to have the shortest memory, or you will not make it here. When you don't have a good game
Mhm.
and the game ends the wrong direction, how do you deal with that? Do you really set like a time barometer? Like at 10 o'clock, I have got to move on. Do you try and wash it away in the shower? Do you scream at yourself on the drive home? How do you deal with it?
Um, Depends. Normally, if we have a cage that's close to um the tunnel or whatever, I'll go and I'll whatever lucky contestant has left a bat there for me, I would just go and try and hit baseballs as hard as I can until I have flushed my anger away. But sometimes there is no tunnel, and sometimes you destroy Gatorade coolers or go hide in the closet and sulk for a little bit. It depends on the situation and how you best. Like there's times where you feel good and the stuff is good and things just don't go your way versus, the one where you maybe walk two guys and then, stuff spirals from there. And I think that, the punishment has to fit the crime for how you got to express your frustrations.
Did you ever buy the Twins another Ikea stool?
I have not bought them a stool yet. No, that's my wife is on me about that one. But my thought on that is they're worth the $1 billion, not me. I think they can afford the stool.
Well, I did just read a headline that they might be limited to the trade deadline because of finances. So perhaps if you actually paid off the IKEA stool, you could help the Minnesota Twins
Yeah, I
compete.
could help their deadline plans. You know, I don't know if the limiting factor on their deadline plans is the 27.99, but if it is, and that's affecting whether they're buyers or sellers, just raise the price of beer another dollar.
If I were you, I would order the stool to your house, and instead of Legos, build the stool with your kids, have them decorate it, and
And
send it
that's
to the Minnesota Road Clubby, and just say with love, courtesy of the Fairbanks family.
that's actually a better idea than making them go through the painstaking process of assembling a stool whose instructions are in bad pictures in Swedish.
Yeah, I don't get that. I had to put together a dresser with our oldest son. He's the handy one around the house. I am no bueno in that, and I am shocked that thing still holds clothes in it.
Uh, Incredibly convenient, great prices. Craftsmanship could be a notch or two higher. Could be,
Hmm.
but when you're aiming for fair pricing and convenience, I don't think you can beat it.
You were born in Milwaukee,
Yes.
grew up though in St. Louis,
Hmm.
so you're a National League Central dude. Did you grow up? You must have grown up as a diehard Cardinal
Die
fan,
hard.
right?
Yes. Yes. I was, I mean, what boy growing up in St. Louis that had any inkling of love for baseball didn't grow up just a diehard Cardinals fan? I don't think they breed anything but diehard Cardinals fans out there for the
Hmm.
most part. Um,
So, who did you pretend to be?
um, so early on, I was a catcher, right? So it was Matheny until 2004, and then it became Yachty. Um,
Mm.
and then once I started throwing hard, um, Jason Isringhausen, Carpenter, Wainwright, you name it. There was a Jason Mott kick for a little bit because he threw
Mm.
noise and was a former catcher,
Right.
and was on that World Series team in 2011, which I was, you know, locked into. I was that fall, I was a senior in high school. So, that we were as locked in as you possibly can be at that point. But yeah, there's far and wide of Cardinals, and obviously, I mean, I Pujols is like the most everybody loved Albert in St. Louis, especially like growing up watching that. It was incredible.
So I imagine you had a chance to pitch against those guys,
Uh,
Pujols, Yachty.
I never faced Yachty. Pujols is, I think, 1 for 1 with a single off of me, and I faced him my
Okay.
rookie year, and that was my only moment in the big leagues where I was like kind of out of body. Um, Faced him in Anaheim single, and I'm like, well, like either way, I was not going to be mad about it. I don't think I gave up any runs that outing. You have to throw against a guy that I watched for 10 years growing up, so I'll take it for
Do
better or
you
worse.
remember? Yeah. Do you remember the at bat? Like, did you have to walk off the mound and collect yourself and be like, "Holy shit, I am facing Albert Pujols right now"?
Uh, I definitely probably took longer to get on the rubber than I normally do. Yeah, I mean, I remember that one pretty clearly. Um, yeah, it was something. I think it went first pitch ball and then threw a slider over the plate and line drive over shortstop, if I remember correctly, which I could be wrong on the count, but I definitely remember the pitch that it was. Um,
Hmm. Hey, kept him in
yeah,
the
no
yard.
homers, no homers. Didn't contribute to the 704 or whatever it is.
Yeah, just a small number.
Woo-wee! It's the bottom of the ninth. 2 outs, bases full, down 3. The crowd is on their feet, and the drama of baseball is real. And so is the action at DraftKings Sportsbook. From the first pitch to the final out, DraftKings has you covered with same-game parlays, live bets, odds boosts, and so much more. And if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code ROSE. And new customers bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code ROSE only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age varies by jurisdiction. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. See terms and responsible gaming resources at dkng.co/base.
The 2011 World Series is the last one I worked for Fox, so I was the guy who actually led the trophy presentation that year. And it was crazy because in game 6, I had to be behind the wall in right field because it looked like the
Hmm.
Rangers were about to win. And I watched David Freese's triple come right at me through a space in the wall. I saw Nelly Cruz run right toward me, and bang, he hit the wall right where I was. You weren't at either of those games, 6
No,
or
I went
7, were you?
down. I was not at 6. I went to game 2
Mm-hmm.
of that with standing room only with my buddy Brennan, and we showed up like as soon as the gates opened, tried to stake out a spot. I ended up because I'm pretty sure the Rangers won that game. There's a weird. I know Mott had a blown save. There was a weird lack, either cutoff or no cutoff of a throw in the ninth, and I was hanging on. So they put extra bleachers in center, and I was like holding onto the side, hanging off so I could see down into the field. Um, and then we went down. I went down with some of my friends for everything at the end of Game 7.
Dude, what an experience, man. To be a senior in high school that loved baseball, that excelled at baseball, and to watch your favorite team come back in one of the greatest World Series ever.
That was an incredible. I had a lot of fun that year in general, but that was very much a highlight for me that time.
You went to Webster Groves High
Yes,
School. Is that
that
accurate?
is it.
Okay. There is a pretty big name in baseball that had well, now father and grandfather that went there. That's where Harry Carey went to school, correct?
You're gonna have to. I am and my
Oh
father and grandfather. I'm
no.
a horrible history. I don't pay attention to any of that stuff.
Oh no.
But yeah, maybe Scott Mayfield went there. That was the big name. Him, Adrian Claiborne, more recently of famous
Yeah,
people to
good
come
one.
out of Webster Groves. But yeah,
Um,
I'm not going to be your guy for any sort of historical knowledge.
isn't there a famous model from your high
Yeah, Carly
school?
Kloss is in fact she was a class. Well, I say class loosely because I don't know if she was ever actually in Webster. Uh, but she was a class ahead of me she was a
Uh-huh.
2011, I think. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Webster
she's a
there's some decent people to come out of Webster Groves.
yeah. All I see on Carly Kloss is well, there she is. She's supermodel. Well, we just have pictures that kind of pop up here on this show. So, yep, there she is with Tay Tay. Wow, you don't have any pictures with Tay Tay, do you?
No, I am wrong league, I guess.
Man, oh man, you're not Webster Grove's most famous
No,
alum,
I
apparently.
nor do I aspire to be.
Well, today's edition of the Rose Rotation is brought to you by Big League Chew. Yeah, you know, we got Ice, Zoe, and Jack. They have partnered with Big League Chew to send one lucky winner to the Little League World Series, plus a whole lot more. All you have to do is head on over to johnboymedia.com/BLC. You purchase any Big League Chew pack of gum, you're going to be automatically entered to win a chance at the grand prize. That features a trip to Williamsport, Pennsylvania, the Little League World Series, a Big League Chew prize pack, and some signed We Got Ice merch. Every pack purchased is an entry. So the more Big League Chew that you purchase, the more chances you have to win. It's a very simple math equation, I'm being told. Full terms and conditions are on our site, so go check it out. Go snag some Big League Chew. Give yourself a chance to win some awesome stuff as well. Shake hands and hang out with Zoe and Jack. So head on over to johnboymedia.com/BLC to enter today. Link is in the description. You did tell my good friend Trisha Whitaker that you were like the greatest three-point
Well,
shooter in the
let's
history of this.
greatest for one season. I can't. Drew was a far better basketball player than I was, and that's Drew Hanlon, famed NBA skills trainer, also out of Webster Groves High School.
Okay. All right. So for one season, though.
For one season, I shot a lot of threes and made them at a good enough clip to set a record. Yes.
All right, good enough? This sounds like a sliding scale.
I mean, I shot a lot. I probably made mid to high 30s, which is okay, not great.
No, that's really
I
good.
mean, really good would have been like, 40s and 50, but I guess that would be elite, not great. How about that? We'll
Okay.
slide the
So,
scale a little bit.
so with the exception of dunking on your son in pool basketball, do you still get out there on the hardwood occasionally?
um, well, contractually, no.
Hmm.
Contractually, no. Because
Yeah.
I'm responsible. I did up until so there's a group of people at Principia High School, which now my old high school coach coaches there. He's great. We love Blossom. So I have gone and assisted him at times if they need a body, just to, hold one of those giant good man post pads and bang on the 7-footers that they have there. Um, but I was pre-extension. We had a group every Tuesday night that would go play, right? So I'd hoop for hour and a half, 2 hours from like 9 to midnight, um, Tuesdays. And then this would have been what, winter of 22, right? Go through the arbitration process, start talking to the Rays about the extension and whatnot. And we get to the point where I'm like, all right, I think this is going to happen. And I'm just like, guys, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. I'm not staking what this is for, an hour and a half of fun at the back gym in Principia High School.
Yeah. It's almost like you want to wrap yourself in bubble wrap until that thing's done.
Yeah. I mean, and when I was playing when you're playing with people that it's easier, right? I'm not going to just show up to like an LA Fitness and try and get a run in there. That seems like a great way to get hurt. Um, which is probably why as soon as that clip of Mahomes playing pickup got put on the internet, because everything has to be put on the internet, they were like, "Hey, you got to stop this. Please stop this." So yeah,
Yeah, you only have a $500 million
yeah, you're
deal,
only going to be
so
a
please.
part owner of the Royals at some point, and all this stuff, and you're going to take over Kansas City. Just please stay healthy and win us like 4 more Super Bowls first.
So, did you grow up a Rams
I
fan since
did,
they did
I
win a Super
did.
Bowl?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So,
I was, I went to the last home game actually at the Dome.
uh,
Um, Watched Todd Gurley run around, score some touchdowns. Then they left, and then I wore off the Rams forever.
so now where are you? Are you a
I'm like,
Bucks
yeah,
guy
I'd
or?
say I'm like half and half. If the Bucks are on, I'm watching the Bucks. I'll probably be a Bucks fan at this point. And then I keep an eye on the Chiefs because my dad is from Blue Springs, and
Mm,
if there's one thing my dad likes to do, it's complain about sports teams, whether it's
mm.
mine or the ones he grew up watching. He actually, so when we played in Kansas City, they're up there and they're down in the tunnel post game. Um, and he's sitting there and he's got a royal blue polo on, or a royal blue like windbreaker on over his Rays polo. I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, well, I'm a Royals fan. I'm like, sick. Thanks, Dad.
Oh my God, he probably has like Fairbanks on the back of his Royals
Yeah,
jersey
I'm
too.
sure that if there's somebody that's got their hopes up for the trade deadline, I would say it's my dad and the Kansas City Royals.
Love that. I love that. During that rain delay interview with Trish, you talked about how your basketball coach was there, and did you say your Latin teacher
Yes,
was
yeah,
there?
my Latin teacher, Jeff Smith, he was, yeah, took 4 years of Latin in high school. Jeff Smith is a saint. He actually was down in Clearwater, came down to the Trop too about the week after that. So, yeah, that's my guy. Love him. I did take Latin.
I
If
had
we can
Doc.
address it, yes, I took Latin.
I took Latin as well.
Yes.
I had Mrs. Heilman in seventh and eighth grade. Now I took Latin because my brother, who is significantly smarter than I am, like he went to he went to Yale. He's super smart. He's 5 years ahead of me in school, so we were never in high
Mhm.
school together at the same time. But I figure I would follow in his path, and my parents thought it'd be a great idea. They were like, "Oh, Latin's going to help you on the SAT." That's some bullshit. Latin is a dead language. It did not help me one bit. What did you
Really?
get out of Latin?
I mean, now I would say, obviously, I haven't really retained a ton just because that's something like you have to like read and see and work on constantly, just given the declensions, etc., and basically your verbs and nouns are flip flopped. Um, but Latin, I would say my ability to parse words that I don't know and what they
Mm.
may mean,
Mm.
and medical terminology. I think those are the two biggest things where Latin has continued to benefit me.
So you're saying you don't use it in your bullpen
No, I
discussions
have
with
never.
Poe and
I have
Chase?
not
You do not.
dropped any Latin on them. Um, Maybe I should. Maybe I should go brush up on some Ovid, or you know, work on my. That's actually. I'll add this. The biggest benefit Latin gave me was like 20 hours of back credit after one class in college. That was probably the biggest benefit.
Wow, that's solid. Did you go? You went to
I
Mizzou,
did.
right?
Yeah, 3 years at the
Okay.
University of Missouri. 3 years, one
Okay.
switched major, and no degree.
What'd you switch to?
I was originally pure mathematics, and then I switched to mechanical engineering.
So what would you have been if you couldn't throw a billion?
I would have tried to work for our lovely military industrial complex, uh, with something that they would employ people that wanted to have a focus in aerospace engineering on. Yeah, I think my first plan, I loved math in high school and etc. And I would have tried to have done something with that. And then I realized that pure math had a lot more theory than I was ready to theorize. And I would prefer to have some more practical applications to what I was doing. And I figured that mechanical, and I loved, pretty much everything that I studied. I mean, and it's some of the stuff is so applicable to baseball, right? Not that I'm the one doing the studies, but just fluid dynamics because air operates like a fluid, and you actually do see some of that, in the baseball world. You just don't have people that talk about it in a true physics way necessarily.
So when you're getting all of these numbers that you guys get, you're really digging it. Like this is you get into this and you're like, oh shit, this is fun for me.
Yeah, I think, you know, I try and keep it as simple as I possibly can. Um, for now, I would love, and I've talked to Snides about it. I really want to go out to Martin Smith's lab in it's either Utah or Nevada, but just to see all the the imaging, et cetera, that you actually can see, how the air is behaving when you do certain things to a baseball. I think that would be a fun way to spend a few days. But I'll probably, hopefully, pass on that for a while.
There's Legos to be built
Yeah.
and kids to be
There's
dunked on and
Pokemon cards
water.
to open, and just other stuff to do.
There's Minnesota Twins Ikea stools to be built. All sorts of stuff.
There's tons
on
of
the
things.
schedule way before.
Tons of
way
things
before.
to do before that.
I do appreciate your time today. I've just got a few more things. Our buddy Tyler Glasnow, who is a regular here on the Chris Rose rotation, was your teammate for several seasons there in Tampa. First thing I noticed, you guys both do the weird glove to the ear thing. Is that just a tall right-hander guy that throws 100 sort of deal, or is there something else to it?
No, I don't. I think it just organically happened because I was kind of like a little bit maybe lower in the minor leagues, and then before I realized it, it was up higher to the face. I think that eventually Glass should move his hand because he's the only person I've ever seen that's cramped in that position. So, just maybe a little more relaxation for somebody that has caught a cramp in his non-throwing hand. I think that might have been at Yankee Stadium, actually, since we were just there. That was quite the treat to watch him just housing right stuff on the mound, as though the immediate boost of electrolytes was just going to stop him from cramping as soon as he consumed it.
I remember that day because I text, whenever one of our regulars leaves a game or something, I'm like a worried father, and I text him right away, "Are you okay?" And he gets back like in an inning later. He's like, "Yeah, just a hand cramp." I'm like, "Again? A hand cramp? Come on, man."
Yeah, Glass. What a treat. I love that guy. He is one of a kind.
What do you miss most about not seeing him on a daily basis?
Just his antics. Everything that Glass brings. He's just like a giant whirlwind of chaos. Between that and just watching impressive metrics show up every time that he would throw on our little scroll bar at the Trop. Yeah, Glass was a treat. My I don't know if Glass has told this story on here or not. One of my favorite things that Glass has done was he destroyed a Theragun in Oakland, I think. Because I would go out, I show up to the bullpen usually a little bit late. And I'm walking down, and there's just shattered pieces of a Theragun everywhere. What happened? And Glass had, I guess, given up a run or something that inning, and this thing was it was just destroyed. Which I support. You got to get the anger out.
Holy smokes! I mean, he must have thrown it against the wall. I don't
Something,
think that's
yeah.
the thing you can dismantle piece by piece.
He could have probably snapped, just given a quick snap.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
And actually, one of my other things I miss about Glass is when you watch his starts, there were times if you were throwing a game at the Trop where there weren't necessarily a ton of people in the stands, you could hear Glass yell "fuck" at times, which I also support. Bouts of emotion, but yeah, there were times where you'd still be inside and you could hear it clear as day on the broadcast, and you're like,
Well, his mom, I just had a chance to spend time with his parents at the All-Star game, and his mom would frequently call and text him about that. Like, Tyler, let's clean it up. You're allowed to get angry. Please stop saying fuck. Pretty good. Pretty good. I do have one Rays question for you. You guys are kind of hovering around 500. Mm-hmm. The thing I love about Eric Neander is I don't know what he's thinking at any time. You guys could be 20 games over 500 and you still might be sellers. How do you, as a player on this team, deal with the uncertainty of what could transpire over the next 6 days?
Well, we make a lot of jokes about it amongst ourselves. I think humor makes everything easier. So that's our way of dealing with it. No, but Eric is, thankfully an enigma to the press, etc. But, we always know where we stand with him in terms of, just being able to go and ask and say, hey, your name's out there. What's been like, what's the vibe, what's been going on? And he's a pretty straight shooter, so you can always know where you're standing in that regard with him, at least from the player to GM perspective. But we're trying to make it so the decision's easy, and we win a bunch of games in a row, and it transpires and how it is going to transpire. But as I forgot who asked me the other day, but I told them, I was like, that's Eric's job, right? Our job is to go out there and throw the ball, and we're going to try and focus on that as best as we can, because at the end of the day, nothing that we really do has any effect on what decision they're going to make. And you got to trust that they'll, at least be open with you and let you know where everything stands before it happens.
But do you and your wife sit there and talk about it, or is it just taboo?
No. So Lid likes to send me things about it. The best one that I've seen so far is there was an article, the Cardinals and one of their guys in St. Louis wrote an article about their trade desires, and it wasn't really trade desires. It was just about me. And so Lid's grandmother took pictures of the paper and sent that to her, which was then sent to me. But yeah, I am not on X or whatever you want to call it. I'll read the occasional athletic article if it pops on my news when I'm scrolling my phone sitting there doing nothing. But I know that I'll trust the info I'm getting from my agent and Eric over the info that so and so wants to put out there.
Got it. You're too busy conjugating verbs.
Yeah.
Really?
We're just working on our declensions and making sure we got the right endings for our masculine, feminine, and neuter nouns.
I have to be honest with you. When you use the word declensions, which I have not used in decades, there was like a shock that was sent down my spine.
Yeah,
because I could feel the C+ in Latin.
And then you got all the different, all your different verbs and how they conjugate depending on which, I forgot the name for what level it is, but yeah.
This is I think where we need to end it. I have to be honest with you. I think I've had enough of this private school discussion. You went to school with supermodels. I went for 13 years, kindergarten through 12th grade, to a single-sex education place. So I got to college, and I was like, what are all these girls doing here?
Why are they in class with me?
Yeah, I was so far behind. I finished strong with my wife, exceptionally strong. Getting there was not an easy choice.
Well, yeah, you just, it was an education in numerous senses of the word.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, I'll let you know, I've told Trevor Plouffe this on Baseball Today. I was voted funniest and least funny. That is a hard combo. That's a hard double to pull off.
You're either, that's really stark divide for the people that, find you funny and don't find you funny. It's much like Jason Adams' puns. You either love them or you hate them.
Got it. Well, I'm happy to be equated in that group. I'll come out and hang in the bullpen if you guys come out west anytime in the near future.
Well, we got 10 days out there, so.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, don't write checks that you can't cash, because we'll be out there for 10 days.
Did I say something? I'm already busy. I've got a lot of travel. I have no idea when you're coming out here, but I'm booked. So sorry about that. This was a ton of fun. I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. You're great to watch out there. You're awesome for the game. Go complain about your cold brew. Go ride your Magic School Bus to the Dome there in Toronto, and go enjoy Adam's dad puns today. Okay.
Well, we're actually going to bike to the stadium today, so I will.
You are not.
He wants to, and I am a willing participant in whatever scheme we can cook up.
Now, are you guys going to get a 2-for-1 bike? Like
no, it's not going to be a bicycle built for two. I don't think that the local city bikes have those. If they did, I think we would do it. But if we can't, I don't think we're going to be able to find one.
I want a picture of you guys biking. You guys, will you ride? You have to wear a helmet. Please wear a helmet.
Yeah. I'll find a helmet.
I don't think that. No, you just turned away. That's the.
I don't know where I'm going to find a helmet all of a sudden.
Well, what were you going to look like? It's a Bible in a hotel room. That's not.
I was like, I've got an X-Men. I've got an X-Men hat. A giant hat I just bought for my wife for her gardening.
Let's see that. Can you show that?
Yeah,
to us, please?
I can go get that. It's a lovely purchase from Kith. But we got a giant sun hat here. I'll throw it on for when she's watering her flowers. So
that is excellent. Oh, I love that. See, that is true love. That is going to keep you married a long, long. You don't have to get something every road trip, do you?
No, I try and so we stay right by a Kith out here, and I always try and grab something for my kids, and I found one that has like a mosaic gecko on them, which is very fitting because I got a FaceTime the other night at like 10:15. Kids nowhere near their beds, just going absolutely bonkers in one of our living room. And I look up and Lottie's complaining. I'm like, what are you complaining about? And Lid goes, oh, her gecko's not working. I'm like, what do you mean your gecko's not working? She's like, and I hear a little 2-year-old voice going, it needs batteries. I'm like, does it? Next thing I know, she fixes it. I look up and it's this little mechanical gecko that she's chasing around the living room. I'm like, all right, whatever. So yeah, we've got quite the entertainment in the Fairbanks house.
It's a gecko, not a Geico, right?
It is not the Geico gecko. It is that would be quite the. If I had a talking gecko, I think I would have monetized that by now.
That would be the capper in the Fairbanks household. All right, enjoy your bike ride today.
Yes,
I do want a picture. I want to see what that thing looks like.
Well, I'll be sure to take one.
All right, have fun, stay healthy, continued success with everything. It was awesome. For our amazing producer, Robbie Scirocco, our awesome intern, Tommy Young, and Pete Fairbanks, who will be teaching Latin in the off-season at a St. Petersburg high school near you. I am Chris Rose. We will see you next time here on the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media.